Hello friends, and welcome to another episode of Strange. Everyone's on about Goncharov these days, but Tumblr mass hallucinations are a very long-standing tradition. One that's been going for a few years now and has a small community around it is clown husbandry. Husbandry being the care and breeding of animals. It's this unreality of clown breeds, care instructions, discourses on the morality of keeping clowns. And the nature of it is really that you can keep adding to this lore forever. The contradictions in a lot of the clown husbandry posts honestly make it better for me, because I think it mimics real-life inter-community discourse and online misinformation very well. The thing is, though, that clown husbandry posts are long. I ran into this when I first tried to make a video about the clown husbandry community years ago. I ran into this recently when I was doing my, infamous Tumblr users video and I was reading God's post about being a purveyor of clown meat. I was only able to read a fraction of that post in the video, which is a shame really, because it's a very good post. And that was what kind of brought me back to clown husbandry, kind of made me want to do this video. I want to read to you some of the best clown husbandry posts, and a good variety of clown husbandry posts that I could find, because I think you deserve to experience them in full. But before we get into that, I do have to tell you a little bit about this video sponsor, Grammarly. If you're a student, if you write a lot at your job, or even if you just write a lot of emails at your job, Grammarly is an amazing tool to have. I so wish I had known about it when I was a student. It has so many amazing tools to help your academic and professional writing sound better and get done faster. It automatically checks your spelling and grammar to help you save time on proofreading. That way you'll probably have more time to strengthen your ideas. It also has an auto citations feature which generates full and in-text citations as you're writing it, so you won't have to do any annoying copying and pasting. And all of those tools I just mentioned are completely free. If you take that extra step and get Grammarly Premium, you'll get access to even more features, such as their plagiarism detector, which scans over 16 billion websites. Accidental plagiarism is such a nightmare for every student I've ever known, because universities will end you. So it's always good to be 100% sure. Grammarly is super easy to download and works with all of your favorite apps, your Google Docs, your Word, your email, everywhere you're doing your writing. To get started with Grammarly, you can sign up for free at grammarly.com/strangeons and get 20% off Grammarly Premium. Thank you again to Grammarly for sponsoring this video, and now I return you to your regularly scheduled clown husbandry. Hey guys, I was walking my clown on the sidewalk today, minding my own business, when someone else who was walking their clown brought their clown over to say hello, without even asking me. Their clown was a much larger breed of clown than my own. Some sort of sport/working breed, I presume, while my clown is a much smaller toy breed. My clown hates other clowns, as it is one of the solitary variety, and began to panic, honking and throwing handkerchiefs out of its many orifices and pockets wildly in self-defense. It was quite the conundrum, and the other owner had the nerve to be annoyed with me and my clown for not wanting our clowns to be friends. Completely irresponsible and unbelievable. It took several hours of playing circus music and specialized clown treats. My clown is on a special diet recommended by the clown doctor due to his allergies, to properly calm him down. I'm glad my little guy is okay, but the nerve of some people. Please do not approach another clown owner on the street with your own clown without asking first and checking to make sure it's okay. Ugh. If you find a young clown that hasn't been weaned yet, which you can see by the lack of facial markings, please don't touch it. The mothers often leave their young alone while hunting for food, and they often abandon them if they can smell your scent on them. Just back away and leave the clownlet alone so that it can wait for its mother to return with food. Stop spreading myths like this! A mother clown won't abandon her chucklets if she smells a human on them, and the most common reason you'll see chucklets abandoned is because they're doing tightrope practice and don't have a proper balance yet. However, it is still best not to touch them, because while the mother won't abandon them if she smells human on them, it can make it easier for predators to hunt them. Clowns mate like snakes coiled together in large orgies. In some cases, yes. My domesticated honk fiend, Norwegian black harlequin variant, enthusiastically tried to coil around most inanimate objects upon entering his heat. It was a bit frightening, because it was the first time experiencing a domestic clown to struggle with the throes of wanting to procreate. But I simply put out a Craigslist ad, and before I knew it, my little Roosevelt was engaged in the beautiful and terrifying act of mating with a purebred violet-streaked mime. She's due to lay any day now. I can't believe I'm going to be a grandma. I feel incredibly sullied. Holy crap, it's tagged clown husbandry. Alternatively, clowns are hermaphrodites and mate upside down like slugs. I'm sorry, what the fuck is going on? We're discussing Homo entertainus and their various mating rituals. Ah yes, Homo entertainus, the Homo sapiens' only natural predator. Yes, though many forays have been made into domestication, I personally feel it's a fool's errand, and one liable to result in at least a few maulings, to say nothing of the cotton candy vivisectors the clown possesses. They're connected to the central nervous system of the clown, and while the ganglia can allow the clown to function without them, the vivisectors really are vital to clown health. Clown domestication is a myth. Some strains of feral Homo entertainus exist, yes. Unfortunately, the widespread documentation of the history of clowns in captivity has led to the mistaken assumption that clowns can be domestic and docile. This is a potentially deadly misunderstanding. If you encounter a clown, even outside in the wild, do not approach it. Feral and captive clowns should be handled with extreme care and only by trained professionals. If one appears in a human-populated area, remain indoors and contact your local animal control department immediately. As stated previously, avoid all interactions with clown vivisectors. As indicated by the colorful markings and plumage of most clown varieties, they contain potentially lethal toxins if consumed. Actually, this is false! You can domesticate all types of clowns if you do it right. My uncle owns a Pierrot ranch that he's been running for 15 years. The trick to Pierrots is to have plenty of good quality white makeup and a large open area. Most clowns only attack if they're uncomfortable, feel threatened, or if a child is nearby. As in a human child, they will attack the child. Environment is also super important, seeing as various clowns evolved independently and each species has different adaptations. For example, the Pierrot has winter-based camouflage, super cool, so they need to be raised in northern regions. It is also important to slaughter them in a separate area or they might go into a rage. Raising clowns is perfectly safe so long as you know what you're doing. Fear of clowns and condemning them as feral have greatly decreased clown populations and many subspecies are near extinct. Conservation efforts have been taken every day, and if you want to help, donate to SaveTheClowns.org, and we can help this beautiful species grow and prosper. Howdy! I've been reading up on clowns and want to adopt. I'm extremely new to clown husbandry, so what breed of clown should I get? I don't really mind the age, and I've got a decent amount of space available for a tent. Thanks in advance. I think a good starter breed would be either circus or birthday clowns. They're the most common and the easiest to care for. You can find the most information on them, and plenty of clown stores sell proper care items for them. It sounds like you have the space for a circus clown tent, so if you're interested in having a more excitable breed, circus is definitely what I'd recommend. I would steer away from any fragile clowns or clowns with specific needs as starter clowns, i.e. mimes or mime adjacent. They have very specific needs that need to be met. It just makes it a little harder. If you didn't have the space, I'd recommend a mini breed. I really hope whatever you choose you'll mesh well with. Your first clown is always very exciting, and I hope you choose one you love. I'd love to hear what sort of clown you adopt when you choose. Can't believe I have to say this, but rodeo clowns need cowboys around to truly thrive. They need cowboys, livestock, and fresh air. Sure, your rodeo clown, or clown boy as I like to call them, might survive in an apartment watching old westerns on TV all day, but it's the husbandry equivalent of keeping a hamster in a mason jar. I've mentioned this before on this vlog, that I think rodeos are a great beginner clown, especially if you have pets, but I must mention that when I'm discussing them, I'm purely talking about rodeo crossbreeds, e.g. rodeo cross party, because they require a lot less space and proper livestock to flourish, especially if you make sure to properly decorate your housing in an older western style. Exactly, you need to at least invest in a big yard and a few pygmy goats. Also, it might make your rodeo clown feel more safe, especially in the first couple of weeks in your home, to wear a cowboy hat around them. I wonder what evolutionary niche clowns evolved to fill. Apex predator. No, I'm pretty sure they started as a prey animal, that's why their pupils are rectangles. Short answer, they are physiologically designed to be the perfect children's entertainer. Long answer, they didn't evolve at all. They were selectively bred alongside mimes, which share a common ancestor, the jester. Jesters are, of course, the domesticated descendant of bards, from which the entertainer genus evolved. Clowns were bred to be appealing to small children who would theoretically be more interested in the clown's bright colors, silly antics, and slapstick comedy. Mimes were bred to be more appealing to older audiences, for whom color and simplicity are as likely to be disinteresting as fascinating. This is a dangerous oversimplification. Party clowns were bred to entertain children, and many modern circus clowns are crossbreeds, the party clown's bright coloration being a desirable trait, but the party clown's gentle nature and poor reflexes make purebreeds a poor fit for the circus. The ones you see in the circus are generally crossbred with mimes or acrobats. Generalizing clowns as children's entertainment leads to tragedy when people think they can trust any clown with small children, when many breeds are temperamentally unsuited for that kind of thing. Rodeo clowns are notoriously high-strung. Funhouse clowns can be mean-spirited, and while the evil clown's name is something of a misnomer, you should still never leave a child alone with one. To that note, ancestry doesn't stop at bards, it goes back to poets. See, a particular breed of poet back in the Gael's time were actually quite formidable. They were ruthless and unstoppable to the point of dethroning kings with their sick burns alone. In an attempt to harness their power and strength, they were crossbred with European writers who were already fully domesticated under the heel of the ruling church. This produced the well-known bard with their shanty and songs, while still maintaining a bit of their ruthless bite they were prized for. While never quite as effective as the Gaelic poet, they maintained their popularity. The poets, however, began to fall out of favor as they were mostly wiped out, but threads of their heraldry can still be seen today with Americanized poet crossbreeds. While not retaining their classic power of the Gaelic poets, they still maintained their respectable cunning and a might of word we can still see in today's clubs and spoken word events. Actually, entertainer species of one kind or another have been present throughout pretty much all of recorded history. Even Paleolithic art documents the evolution of Homo coolorus alongside early humans. History didn't begin with Europe. Humans and clowns have coexisted since the beginning. Fun fact, while prevailing scientific attitudes tend to assume that clowns were predominantly a scavenger species, there is some evidence that early clowns and humans hunted together. This entire thread is a fever dream? Am I dead? Surely death would be more peaceful. When talking about the evolutionary history of clowns, it is important to bring up another species that owes much to how clowns evolved, but isn't itself very distinctive, the Coelurus imitationis, commonly called the clown mimic or fear clown. While we don't know as much about the clown mimic compared to their common counterparts due to their limited numbers and highly reclusive habits, there are some fascinating findings. DNA testing reveals the clown mimic to be genetically distant from common clowns or humans. In fact, there is some debate as to whether they should be categorized as mammals, but evolutionary biologists have theorized that the clown mimic was a predator that primarily preyed upon primitive primates. As primates became more social, the ancestors of the mimic began to die out due to lack of opportunities to hunt their prey. As early man began to co-evolve with clowns, the mimic evolved to imitate the clown appearance and behavior as a means of gaining access to human prey. While we have proof that the clown mimic did indeed exist, the debate as to whether or not they still do is a matter of some contention. Many in cryptozoological circles support the claim with photographic evidence, but many of these cases turn out to be hoaxes or common clowns that have been severely neglected. But in 2006, a hunter in West Virginia claimed to have fought off a clown mimic in self-defense and did produce several broken fangs and colorful hair strands for testing. While testing did reveal they were not human or clown, results confirming if it was truly a living clown mimic were unfortunately inconclusive. I hope you change your ways soon. The Bible clearly says, "Thou shalt not let a clown in thy home, for he who owns a clown is an abomination in God's eyes." I don't hate you. I think you can be a good person, but you are influencing others, especially impressionable youth, to sin, and I can't stand for that. It's not too late to repent. Give away your clowns and ask for the forgiveness of God. He can forgive every sin. Hi. First off, us caring for our clowns is not much of your business. Our clowns are well cared for and healthy, and it is not your place to be encroaching on us like this. Spreading misinformation while using the Bible to justify this is terrible, and I hope you change your ways soon. I'm actually studying scripture at the moment. The verse that states, "Thou shalt not let a clown in thy home, for he who owns a clown is an abomination in God's eyes," is an outdated mistranslation from an older text. The fact that you're using it to justify yourself in such a manner and telling us to repent is preposterous. What happened to love thy neighbor and thy clowns? People often seem to ignore it, especially in cases like these. The mistranslated verse is referencing criminals and evil, rooted in the horrific stigma that used to and still does surround scare clowns. Clowns are not sin. They are to be loved, cared for, and respected, and the fact that you somehow think otherwise is extremely alarming. We are educating the people whom you refer to as impressionable youth on proper clown history and care. They are an important part of our world and culture. Hopefully one day you can change your ways, because we absolutely will not be changing ours. I implore you to send another ask, not anonymously. I'd like to see the person behind this. Remember to always love and care for your clowns. My clowns mean the world to me, and I hope that one day we can live in a world where everyone can love and advocate for them. The "I probably shouldn't have clowns" starter pack. Clowns are creatures that need to clown. They were not meant to be domesticated and profited from as pets. They are highly active creatures and will self-harm from stress in such confined spaces. Circus clowns are delightful to keep in groups, though they are fine on their own, but every one clown adds 30 square feet to the space needed. They need multiple props and performance areas in order to recreate their natural environment. These are examples of proper circus clown or other basic clown enclosures. Candy fluff is a horrible breed of cotton candy. I used to feed it to my clowns and they would just throw it back up. The sugar is all unprocessed when clowns need highly refined white sugar, just because it's cheaper, which is something they don't list on the packaging to fool clown owners. Ideally, you should only feed your clown freshly whipped cotton candy. Large mixers can be expensive, but a simple children's make-your-own candy floss machine will suffice if your budget is tight. Clowns shouldn't be confined to a car, especially a children's car. Clowns are curious creatures that need to jump, tumble, honk, and play to be healthy. Keeping them locked up in a car 24/7 as a toy for your kids will stress them out, much the same way as a hamster in a ball. Clowns do enjoy having access to a clown car, especially in groups, but their car should provide 1 square foot per clown, and their enjoyment comes primarily from existing in the vehicle in large numbers. Keeping them locked inside can reduce their lifespan by up to 10 years. A small human-sized compact car may be suitable for large groups of clowns. I'm cringing at that rainbow collection of "My mommy got me a cute clown" balloon sticks. These are creatures that need to run around with helium balloons. They need to bounce and float away when released. Air-filled balloons on sticks are not a suitable replacement. This is the proper setup for a clown or more modern jesters. Clowns get stressed from any foot confinement under size 16. Clown shoes are the worst item for being sold to kids as accessories in human foot sizes. When kept like that, the clown will die a horribly stressed life within a year when they can live for 60 or more more. They need colorful shoes or boots with plenty of toe space and loud squeakers. Never change the natural markings on a clown. This should go without saying, but I see people buying Halloween store clown makeup and attempting to alter their clowns' faces. Clowns use their facial markings to identify one another, and altering it may cause stress and even endanger the clown if you keep several in the same tent. Who the fuck would even feed an omnivorous clown pellet food? Do they want a sick clown? If clown stores even bothered to care about the keeping of clowns, they would know that that shit is bad for them. If you can't feed fresh peanuts and hot dogs, then you shouldn't own a clown in the first place. Pellet food isn't even real food, it's chemically made with preservatives. Hello, I was wondering the rate at which clowns age. Do they mature at the same rate as humans, or is it like how dogs and cats mature? I want to know how much of a commitment I'll be in for if I get a young clown. Thanks so much in advance. Hello! I am most happy to help with your query. Before I answer though, know that what constitutes aging in a clown is hard to correlate with what happens to humans. What is a clown aging also greatly varies by breed, diet, and environment. Scare clowns only get larger with age. English pratfalls slowly fade to black and white coloring, with more old-timey tomfoolery, and mimes tend to make invisible cigarettes and walkers. That being said, once a clownling has hatched, they go from larval clown to baby clown within a year. Regarding movement and mental acuity, this can be best correlated to a human's development ages 1 to 5. After that, the clown will spend the next 20 years growing into their adult form until they reach their first molt. Usually this incurs a growth spurt and some ornamental change in coloring and patterns, then every 20 years a clown will molt once more, and well, under a clown's natural circumstances, this could go on indefinitely. However, clowns are not from this dimension, and there is a slow degradation of our molecular structure that usually claims a clown around their 100th or 120th year. However, there are ways to extend this time, such as the use of a pocket dimension, such as the one I inhabit. Should the clown still be a part of your family around the time of their molecular degradation, it may be worth it to house them in special facilities, such as Madame Bojingle's Old Clown Emporium and Retirement Home, that are housed in these dimensions. Mime owners. This is Claude St. Pierre. We adopted him 2 years ago. He's a third-generation French mime with roots in the early Carney Awakening. We only feed him hand-toasted vegan peanuts and paleo candy floss. Fool owners. This is Hoops. He likes jokes. Okay, but what about clowns? What about clowns? Wild species. Mime owners, purebred snobs, always showing off at events. Fool owners, fun-loving normal folks, often adopt and trade among families for the best jokester. Clown owners. No! Don't! This is a wild animal that will pie you in the face, and you will be unprepared for the level of joking if you survive. Only practice clown trainers should work with them. If you want to see a clown, go to the circus. Okay, but on a serious note, feeding mimes a vegan diet is abuse. While they can consume plant-based foods safely in moderation, they are still primarily carnivores and as such need a meat-based diet to stay healthy. Speaking of carnivores, hi! Some experts advise a diet of exclusively live food, although personally I've always found that a bit extreme. Yes, it's good for enrichment, but some people are understandably squeamish about live feeding, and of course there's the risk of a particularly gutsy snack fighting back and hurting your mime. In my experience, buying your mime toys that will allow them to practice stalking and pouncing behaviors can provide the same benefit with much less risk to your mime. Hi, I recently came into possession of a juvenile railroad clown. Yes, I know they're an exotic breed and shouldn't be living in captivity. My sister runs a rescue center and I somehow got stuck with this little bugger. And I can't seem to find any information online as to caring for them. He's lived in captivity for so long that he wouldn't survive on his own in the wild. Any tips on feeding/care for railroad clowns? Good morning, Anon. Well, my first advice was going to be getting him into a wild clown rescue center, as most people just aren't equipped to handle a railroad on their own property. If there's not another center you can take him to, don't worry too much about proper cars for that. A couple hours drive to a center and that care for him is worth the stress to his system. Then, 1. Railroad clowns need railroad tracks and railroad cars. At least 40 to 50 feet of track, excluding the track you've parked the railroad car on. If you can have the opening to the car face either open space or dirt road, that would be ideal for foot traffic on humans and animals. 2. Railroad clowns need plenty of open field space as well. 3. Enrichment toys generally consist of banjos, metal cookware, lumber to start fires by the railroad car, and horns to honk. Railroads can and do like other enrichment toys as well, but they will feel mostly at home with things that appear to be cast off or secondhand. Look up LARP guides to distressing objects. A brand new unicycle can be made to look rusted and old while still being safe. 3.5. Diet. Obligate candivore, obviously, does best with lower grade candies like circus peanuts and off-brand candy bars. Supplement with cotton candy, but don't be surprised if your railroad only picks at it. We'll also enjoy popcorn, stale cakes and cookies, and baked beans from a can as treats. Railroads are often solitary, making them somewhat unique as a breed. Unlike American Circus or Mardi Gras Jester or short-striped mimes, railroads are happiest when playing harmonica in their car and watching people pass by them. 5. Railroads have a very strong prey drive, and you need to do a lot of work to establish trust between you and your your railroad, they can be vicious. They're naturally rather bitey, but with time and patience can be made tame enough for handling. Best of luck with your new clown. Let me know how he settles in. Miniature Mardi Gras clowns, Ridiculum clara minima communia, first developed in the 1880s from a mix of feral parade clowns and escaped baby doll miniature clowns. This strange mixture resulted in clowns of short stature, getting their figure from the baby doll miniatures, but with bright parade-like coloring. The Mardi Gras clown is named for the tendency its colorings have to stray towards purple, green, and yellow, along with many bells, buttons, and beads they tend to grow. The Mardi Gras clown gains its temperament from both parent breeds, being quiet and non-aggressive like the baby doll miniature, with a tendency to seek out large gatherings from the parade clowns. The Mardi Gras was declared an official breed by HONK, Honorable Overseers of New Knowledge, about clowns, in 2003, and have since flourished in popularity. A Mardi Gras clown's ideal diet will consist of small candies, king's cake, and other treats. They are also strange in that they will tolerate tea and similar, due to their baby doll ancestry. Not so friendly reminder never to force your clown into clothing made for humans or other pets for your amusement or your aesthetic. It is incredible that I even have to say this. I am so sick and tired of seeing irresponsible and abusive clown owners dressing their clowns up in outfits and accessories and putting them into environments that are not comfortable for their clowns, not to mention understimulating, just for the sake of getting a couple of trendy pics to post online. And it's always the type of clown owners that buy their clown the cheapest kibble they can find at the market or don't provide proper enclosures for their clowns. Hot take, if you can't appreciate the natural frills that your clown was born with and feel the need to dress them up in a way that is more flattering to you, then you just don't care enough to take proper care of your clown in general, and maybe you shouldn't have a clown. Always remember that different clown breeds need to wear and be around certain patterns and colors to be properly stimulated. There is a reason you need to buy a different tent for a party clown than you would a rodeo. Taking away a clown's frills and dressing them in something they haven't picked out themselves is abuse. Thank you, OP, for educating everybody on this. Listen, guys, I see a lot of misconceptions going around clown blur right now, and it makes sense. There's been a massive upswing in public interest. Nobody's born with a copy of Bazoldi's taxonomy in their hands, but I can't stand the thought of clowns getting hurt because of this. So here's some quick points. First of all, clowns are not obligate dulcivores. Yes, they do enjoy sugar. Yes, a healthy diet should include plenty of cotton candy and give them energy to caper, but they're still omnivores. All extant clown breeds descend on some level from the greater fool, which feeds mostly on carrion and rodents. Post-Columbian clown husbandry leaned heavily on the sadly extinct least clown, and yes, clown was once a specific breed, which was primarily fruitivorous with a supplementary diet of natural legumes. Both were omnivores, though their respective environments had forced a diet shift. Modern clowns are capable of eating just about anything, and they should! They're not well adjusted for rough fiber, so stay away from grains and greens, but next time you put a bowl of candy floss out for your bozo, give him a mouse too! Don't be alarmed by the mess. Clowns do like to toy with their prey. This goes double for mimes. Mimes are primarily carnivores. They were never crossed with the least clown. You can tell by their coloration, so a mostly dulcivorous diet is terrible for them. Now, generally, people don't get a mime and feed him taffy, but mime feed is almost as bad. Mimes on dry feed need iron supplements, their blood pressure goes down, and their pelts fade until they're just gray. Please, please give your mimes raw meat. Give them live prey if at all possible. Your local pet shop or shelter should be able to direct you to their feed mice. Whenever I really want to treat my Pierre Chanceau, I'll get him something bigger, like a rat or a garter snake. The pellets are kind of a pain to deal with, but your mime will thank you. Silently, because he's a mime. Mimes are not dangerous. They can be scary before you know them, but their claws are fully retractable, and you'll never find a more caring species. What's dangerous is mime/fool hybrids. In my humble opinion, any fool hybridization should be illegal. They're wild animals. They're combining the body mass and predatory instincts of a fool with the clown/mime's comfort with humans. How the hell do you expect that to go? I guarantee that whatever scary story you heard about some feral mime eating somebody's kid was actually a hybrid. Speaking of which, don't get a fucking fool. They're endangered and they'll kill you. Get a jester if you want capering. They caper just fine and they won't try to kill you. This turned into yelling at fool breeders hell hour, but seriously. Feed your clowns right. I'm gonna go see if Jack wants to chase an invisible laser pointer. Opinion on clowns? They're pretty problematic as exotic pets, plus they do a lot of damage to local ecosystems if allowed to escape, and they taste weird. They're naturally toxic. Clown meat is not safe to eat unless prepared by a professional, and even then, it's more of a novelty food. Some cultures consider it a delicacy, but I can't ethically endorse that. Y'all, clowns are used as decor. Why are y'all eating clowns? Yeah, as taxidermy decor, that doesn't mean you can't eat the meat. Someone came into my restaurant with a clown once, claimed it was a service animal. I don't know what service it provided, but my manager wasn't willing to go over and confirm. It just stood there, staring, smiling. Please, if you have an interest in clowns, donate to help them, don't try to raise them yourself, and don't support breeders. Last week, the police in my town raided another clown fighting ring. I saw some of the pictures in the newspapers, and it was simply barbaric. I don't know when this country is going to wake up and outlaw industrial clown breeding once and for all. On the notion of escaped clowns, I can confirm clowns are a massive problem in Australia. They've already caused 3 species of rodent to go extinct. In large numbers, can completely cripple the ecosystem because of the damage they do to gum trees. There's a bounty out for clown scalps, much like foxes, but there's not enough people with the skills necessary to track escaped clowns to adequately control the situation. Good news, clown husbandry Tumblr. I have reason to believe the court jester is not, in fact, extinct. I was at my state fair when I encountered a show performed by a male clown. I originally believed he was a comedian, but upon further inspection of his performance, which was mostly physical humor, including having members of the audience throw things at him, I began to suspect that he may actually have been a jester/circus clown hybrid. I suspect circus clown heritage due to the fact that he had a large unicycle. I did not get close enough to see his plumage clearly, although it appeared rather drab, part of what originally led me to my original judgment of comedian. I believe that he may have adopted a less flamboyant color palette in order to blend in with the radio cowboys. In addition, I have long believed that many court jesters actually appear in Renaissance fairs solitarily or in small troops. While many believe that the court jester died out due to habitat loss, Renaissance fairs seem to be a suitable reconstruction, even having royal courts for them to perform for. When I previously have brought this up with my friends, they suggested that these could be circus clown/porcelain jester hybrids trained to act like court jesters. However, given this new evidence, I feel confident in stating that the widely accepted claim that court jesters are extinct seems to be false. I just had the weirdest, almost seemingly taboo question force itself into my cavernous, Cheeto dust-filled skull cavity. Is it okay for humans and clowns to be in romantic relationships? How would that work? Would that work? Would that be akin to bestiality? What happens if it goes further than that? Oh, great clown who resides in the fold between folds, please educate me on the most estranged subject. In theory, as long as both parties recognize each other as fully sentient creatures and respect each other as such, then I see no ethical problem. However, in practice, there are more pitfalls for potential human-clown couples. The language of love between humans and clowns differentiates so that it makes it difficult to communicate. A human may come home after a long day of work to a pie in the face, and may, in the moment, not quite see it as the expression of love, care, and merriment that it is. A human may see their clown's frill ripple seductively, and may not understand the, invitation, which can make their partner understandably doubtful and insecure. I knew a mime in Paris who fell in love with a fisherman's daughter at the turn of the century. Her laugh was loud and braying, her hair in frizzy braids and her cheeks rosy. He would bring her invisible flowers each morning, and she would beat him away with a fish. This was misunderstood between both parties. The mime saw an expression of japery and teasing good fun, while she saw it as, well, beating the weird man who showed up at her stall every morning with a fish. I think they worked it out eventually, but it goes to show that interspecies miscommunication is a serious hurdle to overcome. Oh my god, I think I have reached clown husbandry overload for the day. I'm sure you have too, if you've watched all the way to the end of this video. If you haven't, go search clown husbandry on Tumblr. You can have hours and hours more of this content. Without my beautiful voice reading it to you, you'll have to read it yourself, but you get the idea. Thank you so much for watching this video, my friends, and I will see you in another one very soon.